All right, welcome back. We have another package here from Divo Knives to finish up the update project here on this Divo Stout. This is the block wash version of the Divo Stout. Really nice looking knife. But I was chatting with Lefty himself, the man, and like I mentioned in my last video where I swapped out the backspacer to the Timascus Zircati or whatever it is, and the updated all blacked out rather than having the logo pivot hardware. I wanted to see what this thing would be like with some other scales on it. They've got a lot of interesting scales that they've been using and making available out to their customers. I thought it'd be pretty cool to check some of them out. So let's see what we got. Their packaging game is really good. Been impressed with these packages that they're doing on the aftermarket stuff. And there's a lot of options, frankly, some pretty wild ones, but I saw this option here and it just was like, okay, that's my jam. That's what I'm about. And it's not anything like crazy, like they got Mexican blanket and all sorts of other stuff, but it's really cool to me. I think this might have some like stuff on it. Yeah, okay, I was like, huh, that'd be a weird design. It's just got some like oil on it or something to keep it fresh or whatever. But yeah, you can see the difference here. A lot more muted, still a little interesting, but a lot more muted than the sort of the factory one. Let's get these cleaned off and installed. And this should be pretty easy. This should be 2 screws on either side, I think. Should not take a whole lot of effort to get this on the knife. I'm hoping the lighting's good enough here. This is my problem, is I do a lot of my videos late night after my 3-year-old goes to bed, and my wife gets a little husband time, and then there's no light left. So I'm using like different lights in different places. I probably just need to get like a ring light right here or something to make it really work. But anyway, let's get to work here. Now, what I was really impressed with in the other video was that all the hardware, I think I worked on another knife after this. I may have the wrong one on here. Yep, all the hardware was T8 across the board. So I was able to take the whole knife apart and swap out the pivots and everything, and do the backspacer all with one bit, which I found to be quite nice. That was greatly appreciated. The last thing I want to do, especially with a knife that has this many, like when you're pulling the whole knife apart, that's quite a few pieces of hardware. The last thing I wanted to do was to be swapping out a bunch of different drill, bits or whatever in order to make this swap happen. So super easy here. And you can see the difference here of these two. See if I can get some decent lighting on that. So this is a aluminum infused carbon, and it's actually pretty cool. Like, I do like it, but I thought on the black washed one, this could be pretty cool. So we'll see. Okay, I'm liking it, especially given that I had swapped out the the pivot hardware to the all black. That looks pretty freaking sweet. Damn. I love when a great plan works out. Why is it that I feel like every time I'm doing a Divo Knives video, I have to quote a movie? Who started that? That looks really good. Damn, guys. I gotta say, I'm freaking stoked. This just took this knife for me from like cosmetically, like honestly, like a 7 to like a 9. That is sick. Oof, that is really cool looking. Like that is such a different look than having the DK in white and the, you know, really bright aluminum infused. Like that's a very different look. This is cool, but that is hard. And then you just have a very subtle Timascus backspacer there. You can swap that back to the all black and just be super murdered out, but kind of like a little pop on there like that. And just knowing I got something a little unique in there. So let's finish it up. This one's a little more tedious on this side because you got the pocket clip, but it's not too bad. Not too bad at all. All right, so we got these guys right here. And on this side, I definitely want to do the front one first. Kind of get things in place a little bit as I, you know, go in to do the pocket clip one. So if I get lucky, the pocket clip holds the screw all the way in. Despite it being nearly, it's not quite midnight, but it's late night. And my mornings start early. I start work at like 7 a.m. And that's usually after being woken up at least once a night by the 3-year-old. So just don't want to over tighten this too much. I feel like it's kind of ambiguous where that should stop. That's sweet. That is a really cool looking knife now. Get zoomed in on that for you. Try and get some decent light going. Especially with that just black washed. I feel like this isn't quite as straight as it should be on this side. Hang on. Get the scale perfectly aligned. Back to your regularly scheduled programming. Whew, that's cool. Like I said, that puts that over the top for me. I really like this knife like this. Like, to me, that should be like the factory format right there. That is just hard. Zoom out just a tad bit more. It's just an interesting look too. Like, it's not just that it, you know, kind of customizes it and looks pretty good. It's actually kind of an interesting, like, unique look to it. It's really cool. So when I first got the Stout, this is the only one that was available, was the black wash. All the stone washed were sold out at Urban EDC. Now this knife is available in more places. I think you can get it at like Blade HQ and a few other places, but this was the only color combo that was available at the time. And I was good with that. Like, this looked really good. But when I EDC a knife, I normally don't go with a black blade finish. I've mentioned that a few times in other videos. And I was like, this is a knife I'd really like to EDC because it just checks a lot of boxes for me. It's fidgety. It is a cool blade shape for EDC. It's a little like thick in the pocket is probably my one criticism, along with the fact that this blade just kind of looks like a bird to me. It's not like my favorite cosmetic blade shape. I really wish they had done something like a little more like the Demko. I know it's a subtle difference, but to me, this just looks more simple and, I don't know, less like a bird. What can I say? This is just the roundness up here. I like just this sort of straight lines that this has. And I don't really like the indent. It's nice. It does feel good in hand, but I'd rather the jimping from the Demko versus the indent on this one. As nice as that is, this one's definitely really good for choking up. I don't think I've ever choked up on my Demko. I pretty much always come back here and use it, or here, do a lot of draw cuts like that. But yeah, the shape just of the blade is still like the one thing that keeps that from being like a 10 out of 10 for me. This weighs a bit more. It's almost 4 ounces. The Demko is more like 3.5. I mean, granted, this is a more premium version, but the Demko, you know, you can get, I guess these Thai versions are probably more like 4.25 or 4.5 ounces anyways. But the carbon version is definitely still pretty light. Like that is, it's probably still around 3.5 ounces. Whereas, you know, this, you kind of get the carbon look, but you've got the pretty thick amount of steel under the scale still that makes it pretty heavy. So let's see how my centering is on this guy, because I have been messing with it a lot. Yeah, I did not get the centering right when I put it back together, so I got to work on that. Let's see if I can fix that real quick. I may have to do this one off screen just because of the angles and stuff to get this centering right. See how that turned out. Yeah, it's good. Let's see if I still have good lockup. Super solid. Maybe even more drop sheddy than it was a minute ago. My stonewash one, which I've been using more on the channel until now, is like this one is turning into all of a sudden, which is that if I just go like that, gravity will just close it. And that one's now getting there as well. Wow, cool. Hey, you know, Lefty, I felt like he twisted my arm a little bit on these scales. I'm kidding, he didn't do anything. I was totally wanting to get talked into it. But that really takes that to the next level for me. So I'm super stoked that that worked out, because that looks awesome. That looks freaking awesome. that's now one of my favorite looking knives in my collection, which is kind of shocking to have come out of my mouth, honestly. Like, I do think this is an all-around really great knife, but I oftentimes will sacrifice the look of the knife for the functionality, and this one to me wasn't like the ultimate looking knife, I guess would be the best way to put it nicely. It's good looking, but it wasn't like, I didn't like it because of the looks, if that makes sense. It was kind of good enough. But, you know, that, and I actually did feel like the micarta ones were kind of more stylistically in line with what I like, even though I'm not like a big micarta fan. This material I like more than the micarta, but the look is just a little, I don't know if it's like loud. Maybe it's a little loud. It's a little loud for me. But it does feel like really good. And these feel great too. But that's really, really nice. So yeah, that comes together well. It's a really cool knife. I said it was like my favorite knife of the year when I reviewed it outside of a Demco, and this, and I kind of like, it was fading a little bit for me, to be honest, just because of the looks. I again said I don't like really care too much about the looks, but I was like, I don't know, I put the stonewashed version in my like side kit here that I have for the knife videos, and so that was the one that was in front of me all the time, and like I really like the look of the black washed one more. So it's good to get this one out of the box, put all the modifications on it, and like kind of feel like it's very custom. There's not another one like this. Maybe there is somewhere. Someone happened to get the same skills and the backwash, or the Timascus backspacer, but yeah, this just comes together really nicely without the DK on there. The DK I don't mind on the stonewash one because it's kind of like a gray, but on the black washed one it's like a white, and it was just a little loud on the logo. Like, what I think is really cool on this knife is they don't put the 20 CV blade steel on the blade, so it's a really, like, you know, it is one of the nice things about the blade cosmetically is that that doesn't say anything on there. If you saw it while I was going in here, 20 CV is written under this scale on the handle, not on the blade itself. There's nowhere on the blade. You can see here and here, like where Demco has it, there's no blade steel on the blade, you know, etched on the blade anywhere. So yeah, there you go. Not too much more to say about that, but super stoked on this little update. I think we got a winner here. They're getting up there on price at this point. Like, if you buy these scales and the backspacer, but you know, the backspacer, honestly, like I could, if I have just the factory backspacer, it's fine. It's blacked out anyways. You know, you're starting to get in some pretty expensive like knife at that point, like approaching Chris Reeves. You're not quite the Chris Reeves, but you know, for a knife made in China, you're getting up there. You do have premium materials. You've got 20 CV, you've got, you know, carbon now. It's like the price is, but like, I'd feel better if it was made in the US. And maybe the, you know, I don't think this is tie, right? This is steel here. Is it titanium? Maybe this is titanium. I think I forgot that that's titanium. So it is some pretty premium materials. You got titanium, carbon fiber, 20 CV. The thing about this is this finish doesn't really look like, you don't realize it's titanium. On the other one you kind of do on the stonewashed one, but the finish just doesn't quite boast the titanium that it is. It'd be almost nice if there was some like texturing or something there to kind of make it pop, but that was kind of one of the things, like one of the places I didn't have this rated as high out of 10 was just sort of the fit and finish wasn't like blowing me away. There's nothing wrong with it. Like from a mechanical perspective, it's really good, But if you know the difference of like a Chris Reeves and a CGRB Pyrite, the Pyrite's a great knife mechanically and everything, but it doesn't have the fit and finish of the Chris Reeves, right? It's just different. So that's kind of one of the things I feel like in this knife is it doesn't feel like it's $1,000 knife. It feels like it's honestly like more like $150 knife, and you're paying a lot of money for it. You're getting 20 CV and stuff, so don't get me wrong, but that's fine. Like I carry a $150 knife every day. That's my favorite knife that I carry. Now I've got something that's a step up if I want it. Like that's a pretty cool upgrade. You know, does it have all the elements that I love about the Demco? No. But, you know, if you want to compare, you know, a Demco to that, you probably go grab something like this, which is a $600, this one milled out now, $625 Demco. And granted, it's made in the US, but like that's a more like to like comparison than this to this. So it's kind of, this is sort of in between these two for me in a lot of ways. Yeah, that's sweet. Like I'm enjoying looking at this over and over and over again, which is one of those things that not all knives do that for me, but this one's with these updates is doing that. So I think I've ranted about it enough. Don't wanna let this go to Lefty's head and have him not work so hard, right? On the next one, those Divo Knives guys, you gotta keep them on their toes and working for the people. Don't become the man, love the man. Yeah, cool. Good to have an investment go well like that. So, all for now. Please like, subscribe, comment, criticize, whatever you like. It's all good. Thanks for stopping by. Check out divoknives.com for more info about the scale options. They just got a whole shipment in, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.